Hey there, fellow edibles enthusiasts. It's Margaret here, your host of Bite Me, the show about edibles. Are you ready to take your cannabis education to the next level while connecting with an amazing community of like-minded people? Then let me introduce you to something truly special, the Bite Me Cannabis Club. Imagine this, a welcoming space where you can learn, share, and grow your love for cannabis and making edibles. As a member, you'll get exclusive access to a private podcast feed, workshops with cannabis experts and cooking pros, community challenges, live events, and best of all, a safe, supportive community where you can ask questions, share recipes, and bond over your shared passion for cannabis and food. But here's the deal. The doors to the Bite Me Cannabis Club officially open in January 2025. And guess what? You can be one of the first to join by signing up for our waitlist right now. Joining the waitlist is easy, and it comes with some special perks. So don't wait, head over to joinbiteme.com to join the waitlist today. That's joinbiteme.com. Let's make 2025 the year you connect, learn, and create with other cannabis lovers in a community like no other. I can't wait to see you there. Welcome, friends, to a special holiday-themed episode for episode 280 of Bite Me. Welcome to Bite Me, the show about edibles, where I help you take control of your high life. I'm your host and certified ganger, Margaret, and I love helping cooks make safe and effective edibles at home. I'm so glad you're here. This episode is actually coming out a day after Christmas, but before New Year's Eve, because I also realized this year that New Year's Eve falls on a Tuesday night, which means New Year's is on Wednesday. So the episode falls right in between these two. So this episode is going to be for Christmas and New Year's. And I'm going to be sharing some fun things about Bite Me, the show about edibles. And first of all, I want to thank you so much for being a listener of Bite Me. None of this would be possible without you. And when I started this podcast 5.5 years ago now, I never thought it would become what it is today. I didn't really know what I was thinking when I started it. All I know is I really loved edibles and I also loved podcasts. And so I married the two, and here we are. And when I first started, it was bi-weekly episodes. And then I got that first email from a listener who said, hey, I really like what you're doing. And that spurred me on. And it's listeners like you out there who send your messages that really keeps me going. Because podcasting is a tough space to be in sometimes for an independent podcaster. And as much as I love doing it, it can feel lonely at times, but that means I'll be planning some new things for the new year. And I had a lot of wins this year that I would love to share with you. I had some wonderful guests. Some of those guests, one of them was Jamie Evans. She was a guest on the show earlier this year. She is an author and a wine sommelier who moved to the cannabis industry. And I had asked her to be on my show a few times over the last 5 years. And it was only until this year that she agreed. Which made me think, well, I've been doing this long enough now that perhaps it was the right timing for both of us. Because without that time interviewing people under my belt, it might not have gone as well as it did. So that was a real feather in my cap for me, personally. And Jamie has written a number of beautiful books on cannabis cocktails and beverages, and a book on CBD as well. A couple of other wonderful guests that I had, one in particular was Anne Alchin, and you've probably seen me do some episodes with her, not only the interview, but just covering her work that she's doing, because Anne is just a lovely human being that I had the opportunity to meet in person back in June when we went to Camp Canada together. And we really found that we had a lot in common, especially when it came to cannabis. So that has been really special for me this year as well. And also Jackie McGaskill, who is the co-founder of Sheesh Cola and also the author of Chill, a wine lover's introduction to cannabis, which I just finished reading, actually. It's a wonderful book. If you're interested in introducing any wine lovers in your life to cannabis, it's a wonderfully written book that really shows you how the two plants have a lot of similarities. So it's very well done. Jackie has just been incredibly supportive. It was a real thrill to get to know her a little bit too. I met her at Camp Canada as well. There was also Madame Cannoli, who helped me get an interview with Mila that I did. I wrote an article about Mila when she came to Canada for a hash making workshop that Cherry Blossom Bell was leading. And I also had the opportunity to interview Cherry Blossom Bell earlier this year too. When I started to think about all the wonderful people I've had the chance to interview, I'm really astounded sometimes at what I've managed to pull off, for one thing. But none of this would be possible without you folks listening out there. And Bite Me Cannabis, or Bite Me, the show about edibles, is still relatively small in the grand scheme of things when it comes to podcasts. But I recently did receive an email that I had hit the 100,000 download mark, which was really exciting to see. Now, that is across all my back catalog of episodes, but 100,000 downloads for just this middle-aged white lady in a small town in Canada. And do you know what else is remarkable? Is that this podcast is listened to in 70 different countries around the world. I find that remarkable as well. Sitting here in this small town, like I said, in Canada, and people are listening in 70 different countries around the world. It truly is an international audience. I love that. I love how this show is bringing people together, how cannabis brings people together. I find that really encouraging. So that's my heartfelt thank you, because these achievements mean so much to me, and I couldn't have done it without you. Bite Me really has impacted people in a lot of positive ways. Love getting messages around that. And with permission, I'm going to share a message with you that I received from Jim in Australia some time ago. Actually, it was pretty recently, but he says, "Hi, Margaret. I recommended my daughter your podcast the other day. I really like that you have some fitness and cannabis episodes. I'm in my mid-40s, 3 kids in their mid-20s that have all moved out of the house. Sounds a little familiar?" Yes, it does. I am a gym enthusiast, and I have a Concept 2 air rower at home. I have noticed if I'm high, I don't gas out as easily on the rower. It's like I stay relaxed and ease into it. And I imagine it might be the same reason. That might be the same reason I like it for grappling with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I started my cannabis and lifting fitness journey at 40 with chronic pain from arthritis, bone spurs and joints, and chronic knee pain. Now 44, I have lost 18 kilograms, but really put on so much muscle that I can't tell how much fat I've lost. I have 6-pack abs for the first time in my life at 42. I mostly use cannabis for inflammation and don't lift while high. I find it makes the aches and pains of exercise feel like a pleasant sensation and a reward for pushing myself. And Jim had listened to that episode that I did with Dr. Whitney Ogle, who is a specialist in cannabis and exercise and is doing her research at Humboldt University in California. And that's a remarkable story. I mean, starting your fitness journey at 40 and having 6-pack abs at 42 is quite an accomplishment. I love hearing about how listeners are impacted by the work that I'm doing on the show. Sometimes by having guests who are sharing information that's new to all of us. It's one of the reasons I love having guests on, because I'm learning right alongside you folks. So much appreciated. Thank you for sharing that, Jim. And as always, if you want to send me a message, he sent me that through Instagram. Instagram's a social platform I'm most active on. You can send me emails. You can send me a fan mail, although I can't reply to fan mail in the same way. But there's lots of ways to reach out and get a hold of me. And I also want to say thank you to supportive listeners. Pat H. recently bought me cookies on the Buy Me a Cookie platform. He says, "I've been listening to your show since COVID, and I look forward to every episode. Learn to grow, cure, and cook edibles during that time. So I thank you for the edible end of things, Margaret." Thank you, Pat, for your support. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you to Wayne, Steve, and Terry, who are longtime listeners who have been incredibly supportive during this whole journey. And I love when I can put names and faces, in some cases, to the folks who are listening to the show. Now, in the spirit of the holidays, I also wanted to share a story with you called Grandma's Secret Ingredient. The holidays had always been magical at Grandma Edie's house. Every December, she transformed her cozy little home into a winter wonderland. Twinkling lights sparkled on the front porch, the scent of pine and freshly baked cookies filled the air, and a well-loved record of classic carols played softly in the background. This year, however, was different. Grandma Edie was slowing down, and for the first time, her family insisted she take it easy. They would handle the holiday dinner while she relaxed. But Grandma Edie wasn't one to sit idle, not when there were cookies to be baked. "I can still make the cookies," she said firmly, brushing off her son's offer to pick up store-bought ones. They wouldn't taste the same. On Christmas Eve, she tied on her faded red apron, the one embroidered with snowflakes that her late husband had given her decades ago. She pulled out her well-worn recipe box and smiled as her fingers brushed across the yellowing card labeled Holiday Magic Cookies. As she measured flour and spices, she reached for the jar on the top shelf, her secret ingredient. It was homemade cannabis-infused butter, something her granddaughter Mia had taught her how to make a few years ago to ease her arthritis. "A little extra holiday cheer never hurt anyone," she chuckled, folding the butter into the dough. By the time the family arrived later that evening, the cookies were cooling on the counter, perfectly golden with sugared edges that sparkled like frost. The scent of nutmeg, ginger, and something extra cozy lingered in the air. Everyone gathered around the fireplace after dinner, sipping cocoa and swapping stories from years past. Mia took a bite of a cookie and paused. "Grandma," she whispered, wide-eyed, "did you infuse these?" "Of course," Grandma Edie replied with a mischievous grin. "My hands may be stiff, but my memory's just fine." The family erupted into laughter. "Best Christmas ever," her son declared, reaching for another cookie. That night, there were no phones, no distractions, just warm conversation, shared memories, and a whole lot of love. Under the glow of the twinkling tree, it felt like magic had returned to their holiday. As Grandma Edie sat back and watched her family laughing, happy, and connected, she smiled. It wasn't just the cookies that made this Christmas special. It was being together, present in the moment, wrapped in love and holiday warmth. Now that, she thought, is the real secret ingredient. There's lots exciting coming in 2025. And I hope you'll take a minute to share some of your cannabis-related resolutions or goals for the new year. And until next time, my friends, it'll be 2025. Until then, I'm your host, Margaret. Stay high. Hey friends, before we go today, I just want to talk about my absolute favorite kitchen gadget, the AeroPress. Now, I know this isn't about edibles directly, but trust me, if you love coffee as much as I do, the AeroPress is a game changer. I've been using the AeroPress for years, and it is my go-to for brewing a perfect cup of coffee every time. I use it every single day. And whether you need a quick pick-me-up before diving into some edibles making, or just love the ritual of a great cup of coffee, the AeroPress delivers smooth, rich, and delicious coffee in just a few minutes. Plus, it's super portable and easy to clean, making it ideal for home and travel. One of the things I love most about it is its versatility. You can make everything from a bold espresso-like shot to a smooth, rich cup of American-style coffee. Perfect for pairing with your homemade edibles. And it's so simple to use. Just add your coffee grounds, pour in hot water, stir, press, and you're done. It is that easy. If you're ready to take your coffee game to the next level, find the link at the bottom of your podcast app and get your own AeroPress coffee maker today. Trust me, once you try it, you'll never go back to your old coffee maker again.